everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's been a minute since I've last uploaded, but for good reasons. I've finally finished working on my website, which I'm so excited about. To shop my art and merchandise, do visit my website where I sell all my original landscapes and florals, art prints in a lot of variety, and merch that includes phone cases and mugs and much more arrivals to come soon. To keep up with latest news, do follow me on Instagram where you can stay up to date with my new launches. I love connecting and making new friends, so stop over, DM me and say hi. Today we are going to be painting a loose acrylic landscape by using a reference photo. I have an extensive class on Skillshare with extra brushstroke exercises and techniques and a lot more tips and tricks. So if you want to watch an extended real-time version of this painting, you can get a premium membership access free for 1 month. This is a special offer that won't last very long, so grab it while you can. The link is in the description. If you've seen me before and haven't subscribed, make sure to do so right now. And if you are new here, welcome. My name is Alifya and I make content and tutorials in acrylics and watercolors. So if that interests you, make sure to subscribe by the end of this. So let's begin painting. So today's reference is a simple landscape, but I'm going to show you how you can spice things up and add your own touch to it while still using a limited color palette. Alright, so before we begin, let's go over our limited color palette for today and swatch some of those colors out to see what we are going to be playing with. So I've got some white and black here with our 4 main colors that we will be trying out today. So let's start with burnt sienna and some white. You get this really beautiful blush earthy tone that is very useful in landscapes, one of my favorites to play with. Then mixing it with some black can give you a lovely deep burgundy color. And then mixing these 2 colors in between will give you a gorgeous mid-tone.
Yesterday, there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane. And as the light startled our eyes,
The colors we've swatched out so far are burnt sienna, raw sienna, olive green, and phthalo blue.
and now there's something in the air and a sparkly shimmer on our skin, restoring everything within.
Okay, so now it's time to sketch out our landscape before we begin painting. I'm using a colored pencil so y'all can see better, but you can use whatever you'd like. This landscape is fairly easy to sketch out because it has very limited shapes.
On our tiptoes, undercover agents of the other, beyond
You can sketch out how much ever information you would like, but try not to be too detailed, but only block off your shapes based on color differences. So obviously there's this big portion of land in the front, then there's the little lake in the middle, right? And then we have those 2 mountains. You can see 2 mountains clearly, but there's also a far away mountain in the back, which I'm going to roughly draw out. And then there's this like tree-like bush off to the right corner, which I'm also going to be sketching out.
dreamy, breezy we go.
One of my secrets and tips in forming more texture in your paintings is to use a gel medium. This thickens up your paint while also not changing the color of your paint. So you can use the tiniest amount of paint and use this gel medium to increase the quantity of it as well. So it helps you save paint in the long run. So let's begin with the sky first. I am taking in a flat brush and using tons of white with a smudge of phthalo blue and black. I'm going to be using this gel medium a bit as well. As you can see, it really thickens up the paint and adds a beautiful texture to your painting. So I'm going to keep this nice and simple to start with. A plain flat wash will do. To add a bit of definition, I'm going to add some more black to this and just make flat strokes to certain areas. We will come back to the sky later on, but for now, this is good. And the same exact color is added to the lake portion. Again, this is the initial blocking off stage, so a flat wash will do for now. Alright, so now moving on to the fun parts. Let's begin with the mountains in the back. For my base layer, I'm just going to be using raw sienna to fill up the front mountain. So the one behind it, I'm going to be mixing in a bit of burnt sienna and raw sienna together. So for your initial blocking off stage, it doesn't really matter what color you use exactly, because you don't really have to match anything exactly at this point. Use this stage to simply sort of block off your colors, and we will slowly build up the layers little by little. So just find the color that you see most in that section, and that is your sort of your base color. So use that color to block off the entire shape. And then the next stage will just be adding and building layers on top of that. Last thing to block off is the tree to the right, and I'm using my filbert brush again, but this time it's a little bit bigger than the one I used in the mountain. And I'm using olive oil. I keep saying olive oil, you guys, it's olive green, but I'm using olive green and a little bit of black, and just making just horizontal and vertical strokes at the same time. So keep switching your direction of the brush and fill that little tree section out. So if you look at the reference picture we've got here, there are a few green bits to the foreground along with a bunch of other colors which we will get into later on. But for now, I'm just going to be laying out that olive green and white in the foreground with just applying a simple stroke. Keep in mind to hold your brush from the back to keep this painting loose. Remember, these are loose styled paintings, so you know, this is just a great tip to keep in mind if you kind of want to achieve that very like loose abstract kind impressionist painting. Here you see me adding some black and olive green to some of the dark bits I see overall. So just, you know, make it your own. You don't have to copy the picture exactly. In fact, you'll see me going totally astray from this, from the reference, and I'm just gonna play around with a bunch of beautiful colors and a lot of earthy fall colors, especially since I'm totally in the fall mood right now. But you'll see me adding a bunch of colors side by side, just because I think they look nice together. So use this as a reference solely as a reference. You don't have to copy it exactly. You can if you want to, of course, but you know, also play with it. If you feel like the picture has just not that many colors, or if it's a little bit boring, you definitely can make it your own and spice it up a little bit. Fun fact, if you are wondering where this reference is taken from, it is actually a picture taken by me in Scotland. I had traveled to Scotland and the UK a couple of years back. This is pre-COVID times, where, you know, traveling was a lot more fun and not restrained, let's put it that way. So we were actually on a tour bus traveling to some really scenic destination, and this was on the way to that place. And yeah, this was taken from the bus, looking outside the window. Also, don't be afraid of making your brush marks bold and confident. Increase the thickness to some of them while, you know, making much thinner strokes to others, but be intentional in your placement of each brush mark. I do see some underlined blush pink tones to the foreground, but I'm going to be exaggerating that color a little bit more, just because I think it's a beautiful color and it will look really nice with the colors in this painting. So taking some burnt sienna and white, I'm going to add some strokes in different directions to the foreground. Just loving the texture that this painting has already. It looks even better in person. I don't know how much you can see through this video. Let's define this tree a little bit more by giving it some extra shape. I'm just making it a little bit taller and just adding some side sort of leaves and branches to it. At this point, you will see me going back and forth with a bunch of colors until I'm satisfied with the way things look. So adding some more darks and lights to certain areas. I wanted to brighten up this painting some more, so I wanted to add some highlight color with a soft beige tint. So I'm taking in raw sienna and a lot of white to get that. So the areas in the reference pic where I feel like it's a bit more light, I'm adding this beige stroke to that. Adding darks to your painting can not only like simplify your colors and just kind of break up some of the shapes, but also it can add a nice pop to your painting.
So go ahead and leave it. I don't know what's on your mind, and there's no way I can fix it. But you're also leaving me behind. Just a few more hours.
Alright, going back to the water, I'm gonna keep it real simple and just add plain white, just large big strokes in the center to kind of separate that and define the lake a little bit. At the same time, I'm also going to be adding some white and some really nice bold strokes to the sky as impressions of clouds.
Won't you stay? Won't you stay? Won't you stay? Tell me all your secrets.
We're almost nearing the end here, so I'm pulling out my final detail brush to touch things up here and there.
I need to be stronger for my weakness. Oh, you think that I'm strong, but I'm not.
Highlighting that beige tone a bit more, so I'm bringing raw sienna and tons of white and going over the sections again.
Won't you stay? Won't you?
I felt the painting was missing that rust color we see in the reference, so I wanted to bring that out with burnt sienna, raw sienna, and white.
Time races on.
Adding my last final greens to the painting and we are done. Okay, let's take off this tape and see what we've got.
Yeah, we forgot. Won't you stay? Won't you stay? Won't you stay?
To cover up some of the paint marks that may have bled through the edges, do not worry, just use white paint or even better, gesso primer to cover that up.
Won't you stay?
And this completes our loose acrylic landscape for today. I'm really happy with the way this turned out, and if you do try this out, don't forget to tag me over at Instagram or on my Facebook group. I love looking at your recreations. It always makes my day. Like mentioned, if you do want a real-time extended version, I do have it over at SKILLSHARE. The link is below. To shop my art and merchandise, do visit my website where I sell all my original landscapes and florals, art prints in a lot of variety, and merch that includes phone cases and mugs and much more arrivals to come soon. To keep up with latest news, do follow me on Instagram where you can stay up to date with my new launches.